Why do so many people hit a brick wall with their fitness goals after months or even years of consistent training? We are not talking about people who just stroll into the gym to mess around. They are dedicated lifters, showing up regularly, breaking a sweat, pushing through muscle soreness, and leaving every workout feeling completely exhausted. Yet when they look in the mirror, their muscle mass barely budged, and their strength has plateaued. Naturally, their first instinct is to blame oneself. Am I not eating enough? Is my sleep off? Are my genetics just bad? However, very few people question a piece of advice that sounds right at first glance. Changing exercises too frequently. The idea of confusing the muscle by constantly swapping routines is repeated endlessly in gyms, on social media, and across popular workout plans. But how often should you actually switch things up? And at what point does it start doing more harm than good? To answer that, we have to look at a fundamental principle of exercise physiology. According to research reviews on muscle hypertrophy, muscle growth requires three conditions to happen together: a sufficient mechanical stimulus applied consistently over time with a gradual increase in load. In sports science, this is known as progressive overload. In plain English, it simply means your body only adapts when it is forced to do more than it did before. The catch is that to do more, your body needs a baseline to compare against. If you perform an exercise today and repeat that exact same movement next week, but with better control, an extra rep, or a bit more weight, your body gets a crystal clear signal to adapt. But if you switch to a completely different exercise every single week, that signal gets lost in the noise. A comprehensive review by Dr. Brad Schoenfield and colleagues analyzed various training programs and found that keeping exercises consistent for at least 6 to 8 weeks led to significantly better gains in strength and muscle size compared to swapping exercises every 1 to 2 weeks, even when total training volume was identical. This reveals a crucial truth. The issue isn't which exercise is superior. It's about giving your body enough exposure to the same stimulus. What does excessive exercise hopping actually look like in practice? It usually means changing your main movements every week or every workout, rarely keeping any exercise for more than 2 or 3 weeks, or constantly rotating through endless variations. This is common among beginners, but it also happens to experienced lifters who get bored or lose trust in their routine. The issue with this approach isn't how it feels, it's how your biology works. When you learn a new movement, early strength gains come primarily from neural adaptations. Your brain is learning to recruit motor units efficiently, coordinate movement, and eliminate waste effort. This neurological learning process takes weeks of consistent repetition, not just a couple of sessions. If the movement keeps changing, your nervous system never fully optimizes it, and your force output remains subpar. This explains why many people feel completely drained after a workout without actually getting stronger. They spend all their time in the learning phase of a movement, but never stay long enough to reach the adaptation phase. Another study compared two groups. One kept the same exercise routine for 8 weeks, while the other changed exercise every 2 weeks. The results showed that the group with a stable routine achieved noticeably greater strength gains, even though the group switching exercises reported feeling more excited and novelty-driven. This highlights the gap between feeling like you had a great workout and actual physiological results. So, how long should you stick with an exercise? Modern strength guidelines suggest holding on to main compound movements like squats, bench presses, or rows for a minimum of 6 to 12 weeks, provided you are still making progress in weight, reps, technique, or control. Changing an exercise earlier than that only makes sense if you experience joint pain, injury, or severe mobility limitations. Otherwise, swapping exercises every 1 to 3 weeks is premature. It doesn't keep your muscles guessing. It just keeps them from adapting. An exercise doesn't stop working just because you have been doing it for a few weeks. It only stops working when you can no longer progress, even after adjusting volume, intensity, or rest times. For average gym goers, this plateau usually takes months to hit, not weeks. When you swap routines too early, you don't just slow down muscle growth, you create mental fatigue. You constantly feel the urge to hunt for new, fancy exercises without ever mastering a single one. This leads to confusion, lack of direction, and self-doubt. On the flip side, holding on to an exercise forever isn't ideal either. If you haven't added weight, reps, or control to a movement in months, the stimulus has likely worn off. At that point, rotating the exercise or choosing a new variation makes complete sense. It's not about never changing. It's about changing at the right time. What does a smart, balanced approach look like? Top strength coaches recommend keeping a core group of main exercises fixed for weeks at a time to serve as your progress benchmark. Around those, you can rotate accessory movements or subtle variations to prevent monotony, target weak spots, or relieve joint fatigue. This keeps the signal clear for your body while providing enough flexibility to keep things fresh. If you want a practical example, look at how researchers structure hypertrophy studies. One of the most widely used templates in research is a 3-day full body split. It is popular because it's easy to track, easy to manage volume, and mirrors how real people train. In these studies, subjects perform the exact same core movements for 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes up to 10 to 12 weeks, as long as they keep progressing. During this period, the goal isn't novelty. It's answering 3 simple questions each week. 1. Did I lift heavier than last week? 2. If not, did I get an extra rep? 3. If neither, did I execute the movement with better control and form? Exercises for 6 to 8 weeks, the ideal sweet spot for solid gains. Keeping exercises for 10 to 12 weeks. Completely fine if you are still making progress. Before you drop an exercise from your routine, ask yourself, am I changing this because it genuinely stopped working or because I am getting impatient? If you feel stuck, you probably don't need a fancy new routine. You just need enough consistency for your body to adapt and grow strong. Ask yourself today, what exercise have you stuck with the longest? And can you clearly track your progress on it over the past two months? Or do you just remember feeling tired? Your body doesn't adapt to novelty. It adapts to clarity and repetition over time. That is the line between training for real results and training just to feel busy. Disclaimer: this content is for general educational purposes only and should not replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you find this video helpful, like the video and share it to someone who needs this information. Hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss our next science-based fitness insight. And if you want to learn how to care for your health using fully traceable, high-quality products while joining a community where we learn and grow together, join our proactive health community via the link below. I look forward to accompanying you on your journey.